I'm working with gel medium and some printed images to create gel transfers. It's getting an image to basically peel away from the paper, and then you have kind of a transparent image to adhere to your background. The way you do this is with some gel medium, and the best images to work with are printed on cheap paper. So I found these pictures in the latest issue of Trader Joe's, their flyer, and I like them because they have that kind of old-fashioned look, and they're nicely printed with dark ink, and they have a good contrast to them. You need to put 3 coats of gel on, 3 thin coats. Thin coats are way better than thick coats because they dry faster and they're just stronger. So when I work with these transfers, I use a flat brush, and I always start with a vertical coat first. You want each coat to be going in a different direction. So if I paint the first coat vertically, I want to let that dry, or get my blow dryer on a low setting and keep the air moving so that it's not going to create a bubble or anything, get the gel to like bubble up on me or anything, and then paint in a horizontal direction, let that coat of gel dry, and then finally the last coat of gel would go vertically. You can see that when the gel is wet on the image, it looks pretty milky. And if you were to touch it while it's still wet, it feels cool to the touch, and it would of course feel tacky. So I just want to show you how I would keep the blow dryer moving while trying to get this to dry. Keep the air moving. And it'll take a little while for that to dry. These already have 3 coats of gel on each one of them, and they're completely dry. They don't look milky at all. I can feel that they're not tacky, and they're ready to go. So how do we get the gel off, and how do we get this to look see-through? You need a little bit of water. I'm going to get closer here. And you'll turn the image over. Use just plain water and paint on the back of it with water. What you're doing is weakening the bond between the paper and the gel. By painting water to the back of it, you're weakening the paper. And when you weaken the paper, you can then just start messing with it. At first, probably nothing will happen, and you'll be wondering what you're doing wrong, but you're not doing anything wrong. You just have to wait a little bit longer. And you can see how this little guy started to ball up under me, and that's what's going to happen. The paper's going to deteriorate as you continue to mess with it, basically. You'll feel the texture change also. The paper will suddenly, at some point, you see how the paper just starts to easily roll away from the glaze, and it feels different. It's plastic, so it feels different than the paper. What I would do is practice this on a couple images before you find an image that you really love, because you'll just want to have a little bit of experience with peeling paper away from the gel before you go to that picture that you love. Because what if you mess it up? and you just get a different picture. It's no big deal. You'll find another one that you love just as much. You don't want to get this gel too wet because the gel can tear also. I mean, it is just plastic, and if you make it damp enough, it will go back to its original state where it was just a liquid gel, and it'll fall apart. So be careful not to get that too damp. And I think I'm there. You can tell that the paper's all gone when the image is see-through. So here I've still got some paper on it. I can't totally see the text. I'm going to add another little bit of water to it. And now I'm not going to press down as hard. I'm going to be a little bit more gentle, trying to tear away that last layer of paper. And I think moving in circles is a little bit better than back and forth. So I don't want all of this area over here where there's still text around the frog. And tear that part away. Or use your scissors. With collages, I like torn edges. I like the roughness of the torn edge, and I almost feel like it blends better with the other parts of my collage. So it's a lot more see-through, and obviously we've gotten most of the paper off the back because you can see the ink now. What you don't want to do is continue to degrade the backing, because you could get to that point where you're actually peeling off the ink and peeling that away from the gel. So be careful you're not doing that. And when you're ready to adhere it to your background, you'll pick up your background and figure out where you're putting your little image. Maybe by the cat. And you're adding more gel to the back to get it to stick on. So I'm grabbing more of my gel medium. Put them down a little lower. Adding gel to the background. Just like we did when we were collaging. Put the little transfer on there, and again I think I could have gotten rid of some more of that paper. I think it's still a little thick. I was being too shy about removing the paper because you can't see a whole lot of that red background back there. To make up for it now, I'm going to get some more paint. Try to get that to blend into the background a little bit better. And maybe I'll just gel over them a little bit.